Eu sou do tipo que faz o Lúcifer gritar, Deus nos acuda. Reencarnação perfeita e podre do Pablo Neruda. Cresci comprando playboys com moedas que roubei.
Hey guys, my name is Anton here from St. Anton Nutrition, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to calculate your energy requirements and how to manipulate them for your needs. As discussed in previous videos, this should be your #1 priority when dieting. Simply put, in a healthy and drug-free individual, you must be in a caloric deficit to lose weight, and you must be in a caloric surplus to gain weight. Now that's all well and good, but we need to know how many calories we need to consume in order to achieve those goals properly. There are a couple of ways of doing this. 2 I would suggest you do, and 1 is not really an option, but for the sake of this video I thought I'd put it in anyway. So option number 1 is called Indirect Calorimetry. This measure of your resting metabolic rate is possibly the most accurate and relies on the measurement of oxygen consumption and CO2 production during rest. This method of measuring your resting metabolic rate is probably the most accurate available, but it's a little bit inconvenient. Now, I'm not an exercise physiologist, so I'm not going to pretend to know everything about this, but what I do know about it is that it's usually available in specialist healthcare settings or in a decent exercise physiology lab in a university. So straight away that limits the amount of people that have access to it straight away. If it's in a healthcare setting, usually it's going to be private healthcare, so it's going to cost a lot of money. Secondly, if it's in a university, 1, it's got to be in an exercise physiology lab, and it's got to be in a decent one. Not everyone in a university is going to have access to the physiology lab, and even those that do may not have access to all the equipment at all times. Because it requires specialist equipment as well, it requires people who are trained to use it, and so that costs money to have someone be trained to use it, and then their time to supervise you while using it as well. So overall it is quite a costly procedure. The procedure itself as well can take quite a lot of time. I've seen it can be suggested to do for periods of 4 hours at a time, which is a long time to be sat with a bag in your mouth just breathing. Some of them also require 4 hours of fasting or maybe even longer beforehand as well, so that's really inconvenient for most people. So whilst it does produce the most accurate estimation of resting metabolic rates, in my eyes the benefit of that compared to all the costs of it, the inconvenience, the costs, the supervision and everything, the lack of accessibility for most people as well, it's just not worth it for that. But for the sake of this video, I just thought I'd put in the gold standard measure as well. Our second option is the use of equations. Now, before you get up in arms thinking, oh, I didn't sign up to a maths class, I just wanted to watch an easy YouTube video, don't worry, there's going to be no numbers in this. The formula itself is pretty simple. It just requires details of your weight, your height and your age, and you don't even have to understand the formula. You don't even have to know it or know it exists. You can find links online that are just calculators. You input the data and it'll do it for you. You don't have to see any of the numbers, and I'll put links to those in the description box below. Once you've obtained an estimate of your resting metabolic rate from these calculations, many of them have adjustments for your activity levels as well, so you can measure your total daily energy expenditure. Now there are 2 formulas that are used. The first one introduced is the Harris-Benedict formula, and the second is a more recent reformulated equation called the Mifflin-St. Jeor. I've probably butchered that, but it will be on the screen somewhere. That's the latest formula basically. Now what I like about these formula is that they're nice and simple to use. As I said, you can find calculators online and you just input the data yourself. You don't have to know about the equation or anything, and it will provide a decent estimate for you. Furthermore, some evidence suggests that there's no significant differences between the estimations from these equations and from indirect calorimetry, which is the gold standard measure. So they're a pretty good tool to use, and they overcome all the costs and the inconveniences of indirect calorimetry. Now you might be saying, well, if there's 2 formulas, which one do I go for? In my opinion, you should go for the Mifflin one, just because it's the most recent and up-to-date one. However, either one of them is fine, or if you prefer, you could use both and then take an average of the 2. You will find they're a little bit different, but they give you a really good ballpark estimation. Now there is a third option as well, which is probably the least scientific, but it is the most personable to you, so it's worth considering. What I suggest is you just track what you eat for a period of around 2 weeks, or if you can remember pretty accurately, or if you track in MyFitnessPal or something similar to that, recall your last 2 weeks of eating and your weight change as well. If you track your weight, it might fluctuate up and down, but hopefully on average it will remain pretty similar. And this should be the same for your calories as well. Once you've found this, you've got a pretty good idea of your maintenance level calories. What I suggest is a combination of option 2 and 3. Find where your maintenance level calories should be using the equations, and then kind of reflect on your diet and your weight yourself and monitor it and see if this aligns. So once we've established your energy requirements to maintain your body weight, we need to know how to manipulate them if you want to gain weight or if you want to lose weight. Now for this, we need to get a rough estimate of how many calories go into a pound of body weight. And evidence suggests it's 3,500 calories. In order to lose around a pound, you need to create a deficit of around 3,500 calories, and vice versa for gaining a pound. So every day you need to create a deficit of 500 calories. It's simple, just take 500 away from that estimated number you got previously.